Hey everybody, my name is Claire and I will be presenting the Marshall case of Gibbons versus Ogden. I just want to apologize in advance if there are any disruptions as I'm home in our small apartment with my 6-year-old and large dog. I'm not sure that we'll have any disruptions, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, now we can dive in. Excuse me. I wanted to start by introducing the people involved in this case so you have a better picture of what's going on, because I know that what I've learned is a lot of what goes down in history has to do with the drama between the people. So the first two people involved in this case are going to be Robert Fulton and Robert Livingston. They both commercialized the steamboat in 1807 and were given a monopoly from the state of New York to be the only operators of steamboats on state waters. Um, and then we have Aaron Ogden, who is originally upset about the monopoly, but can't do much about it. So he ends up purchasing rights from Fulton and Livingston so that he can operate a steamboat from New York City to New Jersey. The last person involved in this case is going to be Thomas Gibbons in Ogden versus Gibbons. And what he has is a federal license to engage in coasting trade. So now that we know all of the people involved, we can start to talk about the facts of the case. So again, New York state law grants a 20-year monopoly on steamboat navigation in New York waters to Fulton and Livingston. Ogden then buys rights from Fulton and Livingston to operate a steamboat from New York City to New Jersey. Uh, then Thomas Gibbons comes along and he operates a steamboat in New York waters without the authority of Fulton and Livingston. This, of course, upsets Ogden because, I mean, he had to pay for that right, so should Gibbons. He actually takes Gibbons to court in the state of New York and he wins the case because in the state of New York, Fulton and Livingston have that monopoly over those waters, and Gibbons was in violation of that monopoly. But Gibbons does have this federal license to for interstate, right? Not interstate. He has that license for coasting trade, which allowed him to operate a steamboat in that area. So what Gibbons does is he takes this case and appeals it to the Supreme Court, and through the interpretation of the Commerce Clause, he actually wins the case. Okay, and now that we have a general outline of the case and the rulings, we can start to talk about the significance of this case and what it means for federalism. I'd like to start by addressing the Commerce Clause. So the Commerce Clause gives Congress the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations, among the states, and with the Indian tribes. Justice Marshall uses this clause to argue that interstate navigation fell under interstate commerce and that New York law could not interfere with it since the power to regulate commerce between states lied with the Supreme Court. So again, the ruling is in favor of Gibbons, stating that federal law trumps state law. I actually went ahead and copied the decree from the actual case, but I'm not going to read it out to you at this time as it's lengthy. I just wanted it for reference. So I'll summarize it and say that, Ogden's win is not relevant or accurate as Supreme Court trumps state court. So now the most important question. Why is this case relevant for federalism? This case is significant for federalism because they had to take the words from the Interstate Commerce Clause and interpret what they mean. And what they decided was that it meant that only the federal government had the power to regulate interstate commerce and that the states would just regulate commerce within state borders. This upset many people in the South, considering that the rivers ran between states, so any commerce that was moved through those rivers would now be regulated by the federal government instead of the state government. So that is why this is significant to federalism, because it again took powers away from the state and gave them to the federal government. I hope that enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to hearing your feedback in the discussion board. Thanks so much.